Is it possible to separate education from politics?
You can separate education from politics, but not politicking. Because when, I keep going back to that, when you appoint a commissioner for education who is a lawyer, what have you told the public? What message are you sending? If the lawyer is so fantastic, why is he or she not a senior advocate of Nigeria? Why is the person not in the court? Even that lawyer would not know, will only be relying on the directors. You know, and the directors will tell him or her what they want him to do. Unlike somebody that is in education, that knows that these are the compulsory subjects that these children are supposed to do. I got to Edo State and I went to one school where they have stopped children from studying government. That they should not do government, they should not do history. And you ask yourself, how can your child, a Nigerian child, not be taught history of Nigeria?
No, Prof, some people will argue that
is only
the
science you want.
a commissioner or a minister, so to speak, is an administrative position. So he doesn't necessarily have to be an expert in that field for him to man that.
So why do we have the Attorney General being a lawyer? Why do we have the Minister of Justice as a lawyer? Why do we have the Commissioner for Health as somebody in the health profession? In fact, you know, there's a cry now that it's not only the medical doctors that should be commissioners for health and ministers for health. Why do we have that? If we are insisting, we can't be speaking from two sides of our mouths. If it's only the administrative work that the commissioner or the minister is supposed to do, please take an educationist to the Ministry of Justice. Take an educationist to the Ministry of Health. It's administration we are talking here, if that is what you mean.
But what kind of politicking are you saying that we cannot separate education from?
Politicking in the sense that the governor will want to, and the minister, and the president will want to be seen as doing what is right. Okay. We have to build these schools. We have to cite them in these communities. You know, these people supported me so well. And in fact, when I was campaigning, I went to so-and-so primary school. Their field was horrible, and I said, once we are voted in, we have to change this place. Whether that school in a very remote area has population enough for the kind of thing, because as a governor you want people to hold you to your words, and you have said that, so you have to go back to that village and cite structures that will not be, at the very worst, 30% maximal use. But you have invested, pumped in so much money that would have been used in some other places. I'm not saying that that is wrong, but what I'm saying is that you do it in such a way that there's even spread that everybody, it is unfortunate that even in our big cities, when you leave the major urban part of the big cities, children are still sitting on the floor. You've shown some that are still sitting on the floor. We still have crowded classrooms. You still have classrooms with 120 children and a teacher. And that is wrong. Because even the class register, the maximum there is 40. So you see, most schools, a class will have 3 registers.
Wow. Well, for politicians or for those who are going into elective office, if there were to be this law that if you have to be in this office, one of the criteria should be that your wards should attend schools within the country. Will it help them pay more attention to education here?
I don't even very much. It's not a law thing.
No, because
it's an individual thing. If you don't believe in it, you will always find a way of circumventing that law. You know, we are very good at circumventing laws. We are very good. And the man may decide to tell you, it is my wife's family that have taken my children, and I have talked and they refuse. What are you going to do about that? I want my children in this school, but my wife's people, you know, she has a twin that wants the children and my own children to grow up together and has taken them, when in actual fact he's the one paying the fees. So it's not a law thing. It's a question of what I call changing our thought process, cognitive restructuring. We have sold our soul. We no longer, what matters is no longer what matters to us.
Can we redeem this?
We can redeem that if we are ready to tell ourselves the truth, that this is not, if you sit down in your sober moment, you know that you went to this kind of school. What are those things that were there and it worked for you? If it worked for you, why wouldn't you do it now? For other children whose parents cannot afford to send them to all these high fee paying private schools to still have the same kind of education. It goes beyond infrastructure. It is investing in education, not just funding education. Because even when they were showing the budget, when you look at it, most times the budget is huge, is the personnel cost. What trickles down to actual classroom needs is very small. Until we change that to invest in education and not fund education.
Interesting. I want to thank you for those interesting perspectives. Professor Ngozi Osarenren is a former Commissioner of Education in Edo State and also a Professor of Counseling Psychology in the University of Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I will return. We've got another perspective on this same matter, so join us again if you can.